Mr. McLeod,
Contempt for what?
Mr. McLeod, two things are going to happen. You're going to answer my question, or you're going to jail for summary contempt for not complying with the court's request. Do you, Mr. McLeod, understand that the maximum penalty for the charge against you is 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
I don't understand the charges.
Mr. McLeod is in contempt of court taken into custody.
Really?
This courtroom session is nothing short of a roller coaster, complete disorder from the very beginning. The man at the center of it all, Mr. McLeod, is facing serious charges for allegedly assaulting a police officer. But instead of addressing the accusations directly, he immediately starts challenging the court's authority, claiming it has no legal power over him. He goes full sovereign citizen mode, interrupting the proceedings, raising his voice, and tossing around bizarre, made-up legal jargon in an attempt to derail the hearing. His arguments make no legal sense, and it's clear he's trying to create confusion rather than offer any real defense. But the judge isn't having it. She keeps complete control of the courtroom, calmly and firmly shutting down every outburst he throws her way. No matter how many times he tries to hijack the moment with nonsense, she holds the line with professionalism and authority. Things get more tense by the minute, and the situation escalates quickly. In the end, the judge makes a final call that leaves no room for debate. Mr. McLeod is ordered to spend the night in jail. It's the only move left after his repeated disruptions and refusal to cooperate. This hearing is both maddening and oddly entertaining, a wild mix of stubborn delusion crashing hard against the weight of real law and order. Mr. McLeod seemed fully convinced his fantasy courtroom strategy would work, but instead, he ends up completely overpowered by the justice system. If you're into courtroom showdowns that feel almost unreal, you're in for a treat. Be sure to like and subscribe if this kind of real-life legal drama grabs your attention. Now, let's break down exactly how it all unfolded.
Do you understand your right to a lawyer, including a court-appointed lawyer?
I understand that.
Okay. And do you wish to represent yourself instead of having an attorney?
Yeah, I'm here by special appearance, and I will be representing myself.
Okay. I'm required by law before I accept that waiver to do a couple things. One, advise you of the maximum penalties that you could face for the charges that you're in my court for. Resisting, obstructing conservation officers is a high court misdemeanor punishable by up to 2 years in prison and or $1,000 fine. There's a habitual offender second notice that's been filed by the prosecutor, which would make that a felony punishable by up to 3 years and or $1,000 fine. And marine safety operating while intoxicated is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days and or $100 to $500 fine. Do you understand the maximum penalty for the charges against you?
Well, I don't even really understand why I'm here, honestly.
Take a moment to notice just how composed this judge remains throughout the chaos. Despite being constantly interrupted and bombarded with baseless arguments, he genuinely tries to give Mr. McLeod a fair shot to get his point across. It's actually remarkable how much restraint and professionalism the judge shows, even when the situation starts going completely off the rails. McLeod, on the other hand, continues to act as if he doesn't grasp even the simplest legal ideas, and not in a confused way, but more like his choosing not to. The judge doesn't raise his voice or lose control. Instead, he patiently repeats himself, giving McLeod every opportunity to participate respectfully. Now here's the real question. Is Mr. McLeod actually out of touch with reality, or is this a calculated move to dodge accountability? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because it's hard to tell whether he truly believes this sovereign citizen routine or if it's just a last-ditch attempt to stall the consequences.
Well, okay. Well, that's fine. Do you understand the maximum penalty that I just explained to you?
No.
Hold on. I can't let you represent yourself until I establish a couple things.
Well, I need to establish a couple things too, honestly.
Hold on. Well, I can't let you represent yourself until I establish a couple things, or I'm going to be in trouble. Okay. Do you understand that the maximum penalty that you could face for the charges that you're here for is up to 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
I don't understand the nature and cause of the action against me. So I guess
what is it that you don't understand? Do you not understand how long 3 years is, or how much the fine is that I've articulated? Can you tell me what it is you don't understand? I don't understand the nature and cause of the action against me because there's no established jurisdiction. That's not what I'm asking you right now. Well, I'll let you place whatever objections you want on the record, Mr. McLeod. I promise you that. Okay. Can we just go one step at a time? So do you understand the maximum penalty that you could face if you're convicted as charged? 3 years in prison or $1,000 fine.
Well, I have another question because the statutory jurisdiction doesn't exist under the Constitution. So in order for me to defend myself, could you please tell me where the published rules of conduct are for criminal statutory jurisdiction, or where I can find the nature and cause of this jurisdiction, or how this information exists?
No, I don't even understand what you're asking.
So you're saying this is a statutory jurisdiction under what? The statutes of Michigan, correct?
Mr. McLeod, I've told you what my jurisdiction is.
General
The
jurisdiction.
people of the state of Michigan voted to convene a constitutional convention in 1961.
Sure.
There was a constitutional convention in 1961 and 1962. They proposed a state constitution. The voters of the state of Michigan ratified that in 1963. Article 6 establishes the judicial power. And the circuit court is a court under that judicial power of Article 6 of the state constitution. And so you're here in my court. I have subject matter jurisdiction over those crimes. I have personal jurisdiction over you because you've been alleged to have committed them in our county. That's my jurisdiction. So Mr. McLeod, you want to represent yourself? Do you understand the maximum penalty that you could face of 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
One second.
I can see why his attorney would Drew. Oh, shit.
Hang on, someone in the prosecutor's office is not muted. I'm going to remove you from the meeting at this time.
Oh,
Prosecutor's office is generally allowed to attend to observe. They've participated. I'm removing them from the hearing.
Honestly, she wasn't wrong at all. What we witnessed here was one of those unfiltered courtroom moments you just don't forget. It was so off the wall, you can't help but laugh a little, even if you're trying to take it seriously. And truthfully, how the judge managed to keep a straight face during that entire exchange is beyond me. That level of self-control is impressive in its own right. This wasn't just a random outburst either. It felt like the moment captured exactly what everyone in the courtroom was silently thinking. Whether it was an older woman reacting instinctively, or someone just overwhelmed by the sheer absurdity of the hearing, her reaction spoke volumes. The situation had reached a point where reality and ridiculousness were starting to blend together. And let's be honest, it's not surprising at all that Mr. McLeod's attorney decided to withdraw from the case. Once you see him in action, it starts to make perfect sense. He's sitting there flipping through a messy pile of printed papers, digging for some imaginary law or loophole he swears will magically clear his name. It's like watching a magician with no tricks still trying to pull a rabbit out of an empty hat. What makes it even wilder is that Mr. McLeod truly seems to believe he's cracked some secret code that no one else in the justice system understands. But in reality, everyone, from the judge to the prosecutor to the spectators, already knows exactly how this is going to play out. He's not building a defense. He's just sinking himself deeper with every word. You have to wonder what sovereign citizens actually think is going to happen. Do they really believe the judge is suddenly going to stop everything and say, "You know what? You're right. This whole court thing is invalid. Case dismissed." It's like watching someone argue the rules of chess in the middle of a baseball game, completely disconnected from how the system actually works. By the time the prosecutor threw in her final comment, it honestly felt like the perfect ending note: sharp, slightly sarcastic, and totally justified. If you were in her shoes, you'd probably be thinking the exact same thing too. And yet, what's even more mind-blowing is how deep into the fantasy these sovereign citizens go, watching Mr. McLeod shuffle his fake documents and cite imaginary statutes with total confidence. It's baffling, yet somehow captivating. He's in his own world, fully committed to a strategy that's doomed from the start. Let's jump back in and see just how far this train wreck goes.
Mr. McLeod, do you understand the maximum penalty that you could face?
One second. Okay, so when enforcement of mere statutes, judges of all courts do not act judicially and are thus are not protected and qualified by limited immunity. That's Owen versus the city. I just want to state a few things for the record, since you're claiming this is jurisdiction under statutory law.
Hang on. Mr. McLeod, can we back it? Look at me for a second. Can we talk here?
I challenged subject matter jurisdiction. Nothing can go forward until that's addressed. You're saying
I did address it and I denied your objection. I have subject matter
jurisdiction doesn't
jurisdiction.
exist under the Constitution.
Your objection is noted. So, Mr. McLeod, do you understand? Let me explain to you.
Sure.
Sometimes, as I said, people might want to represent themselves, but let's say they have limited intellectual capacity and they don't understand.
You can clearly see it. The judge has officially run out of patience with Mr. McCloud's circus act. And honestly, it's not even about being harsh anymore. It's just plain, undeniable truth. The man is sitting there fumbling through a pile of random paperwork, tossing out fake legal references like they're going to magically change the outcome. Meanwhile, the judge doesn't even raise his voice. He just delivers pointed, fact-based responses that quietly shut it all down. What's impressive is how the judge manages to dismantle the nonsense with total calm and control. No yelling, no sarcasm, just pure authority wrapped in professionalism. And let's be real, you've got to give credit where it's due. He doesn't mock Mr. McCloud. He simply calls out the absurdity for what it is, and does it in a way that leaves no room for argument. Moments like this really highlight why the judge sits at the top of the courtroom hierarchy. It's not just the robe or the gavel, it's the steady hand, the command of the law, and the ability to stay composed even when someone's doing their best to turn the legal process into a spectacle. This right here is exactly why judges hold the final word.
I have to establish that they know what's going on before I can allow them to represent themselves. I'm required to establish, do you comprehend, do you know the maximum penalty that you could face if you're convicted as a result of this charge? 3 years in prison or $1,000 fine. Do you understand that, Mr. McCloud?
So I'd like to state for the record that
Mr. McCloud,
the
stop.
court can be,
Stop, Mr. McCloud. If you don't understand it, I'm going to revoke your right to represent yourself and have an attorney represent you because I can't establish that you know what you're doing. So do you know the maximum penalty that you would face?
Your Honor, I've challenged this court's jurisdiction. You haven't established it yet. You said you have a statutory jurisdiction, which doesn't exist under the Constitution. I'm trying to figure out where I stand with this. So I can't answer any of your questions until you answer some of mine.
That's not how it works. Are you refusing to answer my question?
No, I'm
Then
saying,
answer it. Do you understand the maximum penalty that you face for this charge?
so judges who become involved in enforcement of
Mr.
these
McCloud,
statutes.
I have
act
other
as
man-
clerk
Mr.
of some
McCloud.
involved agency. What's that?
You know, I understand you want to object to things and you're going to be allowed to object to things. Okay.
Sure.
But we have to do things one step at a time. And I do have other cases today. I'm not going to entertain this for like a whole hour. I've got other cases going on. If you want to dig in your heels and just make this real complicated or real difficult, we could do that. And I can hold you in contempt and you'll go back to a jail cell for a while.
No, Your
and then
Honor,
we'll deal with
I
it.
don't wish to be held in contempt. I just wish to exercise my Sixth Amendment right.
That's fine.
And
So before I can let you under,
I can
before I
cite
can,
laws, I can cite laws that will show you that the exercise of a right can be converted into a crime. I'm trying to understand the nature and cause of the action against me. You're not clarifying it enough to where I can comprehend it, as you say.
you comprehend the maximum penalty that you would face.
I'm not answering any of those questions until you establish that this is a court of the Constitution, has jurisdiction under these jurisdictions.
I established it. I told you. You might think I'm wrong and you can appeal.
There's
it
no
to the
such
Michigan
thing as
Court
a
of Appeals.
statutory jurisdiction.
Mr. McCloud, let me make this simple for you. Do you ever watch, let me make this simple for you.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you this question one more time. One more time.
Okay.
Two things are going to happen. You are either going to answer my question or I'm going to hold you summarily in contempt. And the court officer will bring you to a jail cell and we'll talk about it tomorrow. You understand that?
So.
Mr.
in
McCloud,
contempt for what?
Mr. McCloud, two things are going to happen. You're going to answer my question or you're going to jail for summary contempt for not complying with the court's request. Do you, Mr. McCloud, understand that the maximum penalty for the charge against you is 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
I don't understand the charges.
Mr. McCloud is in contempt of court taken into custody.
Really? God's sake. Protecting my rights is what you said last time. This isn't true. You guys are
Follow
following
unconstitutional
You're following
orders.
unlawful orders. It's not
Not a
constitutional
good
at all.
thing.
Mr. McCloud's in contempt. He's sentenced to 1 day. Mr. McCloud, your sentence is 1 day in jail. We'll reconvene tomorrow and get you
This is about
notice.
the Constitution. I did nothing wrong except to question and exercise my rights.
This entire situation with Mr. McCloud honestly feels like something out of a parody sketch. Watching him try to play the role of a lawyer, when it's painfully obvious he doesn't understand even the basics of courtroom procedure, is just uncomfortable. You can't help but ask yourself, Why didn't this man just request a court-appointed attorney? It's not only common sense, it's his constitutional right under the Sixth Amendment. If you can't afford one, the court will provide one. It's literally that simple, and yet, here he is, confidently flipping through a random stack of papers, wearing flashy sunglasses, and rambling off these imaginary laws that hold absolutely no legal weight. It's like he's trying to rewrite the rules of the courtroom with zero foundation. What makes it more frustrating is that the judge genuinely tried to help him in the beginning. You can see the judge speaking slowly, walking him through what's happening, offering him a real opportunity to participate properly. But even the most composed judge has a limit. And McCloud pushed it. Instead of cooperating, he spiraled deeper into a fantasy that is somehow going to outsmart the entire judicial system with fictional arguments and empty phrases. He behaves like he's about to unlock some mythical legal loophole, when in reality, all he had to do was answer straightforward questions, basic yes or no stuff. That's it. And the charge he's facing? It's no small matter. Assaulting a police officer is an extremely serious offense, often classified as a felony. In many states, it carries multi-year prison sentences. In this case, he's reportedly looking at up to 3 years. So you'd expect someone in that position to be focused on either building a defense or discussing a plea deal. But instead, he's just throwing away time. Both his and the court's, the judge, to his credit, keeps trying to steer things back on track. At one point, he even says he's noting what McCloud is saying, not because it's relevant, but to show how disconnected it is from actual legal procedure. It's almost like McCloud is playing a role in his own fictional courtroom drama, completely unaware that none of this is moving his case forward. And while yes, it's bizarrely entertaining to watch, there's also a tragic layer underneath it all. McCloud may genuinely believe in the sovereign citizen ideology, which claims that people can declare themselves independent from government laws. But that theory has been rejected in US courts for decades. Judges are bound by real statutes, not personal interpretations or internet conspiracies. There are legal rulings all the way back to the 1990s and beyond that clearly dismiss the kind of arguments McCloud is making. In the end, all he's really doing is hurting himself. A felony conviction could lead to serious, long-term consequences, loss of voting rights, inability to own a firearm, and of course, prison time. This isn't just a temporary inconvenience. This is his future on the line. So that wraps up today's breakdown. If you found this courtroom moment as wild and slightly sad, as I did, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Mr. McCloud really believes in this sovereign citizen logic? Or is he just trying to avoid accountability the only way he knows how? Either way, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more real courtroom coverage just like this. Thanks for watching, and take care.